good evening everyone. Our topic for today is all about comparative politics. So, comparative from politics from the word comparative, meaning to compare. So, the root word for comparative is compare. So, the act of comparing is the concept of this comparative. When you say politics, it's all about all the um, all the actions or all the movement within a state, that is the politics. So comparative politics is the study of domestic politics. When we say domestic politics, so domestic politics refers to the within within of a particular state. So comparative politics emphasizing the similarities and differences. According to Aaron Ledgepart, the concept of comparative politics does not focus on the what you are comparing to, but on how you compare such things. Say, for instance, the politics. So, the politics itself is not really the concern of the comparative politics, but the process on how you compare things. Say, for instance, in comparing to individual persons, so how will you identify the other person to the other? So that is the concern of the subject comparative politics, but not the person itself. Like say, for countries, the Philippines and the United States, they are not really concerned on the country itself, but on how those two countries differ from each other. So that is the main concept of comparative politics. So there are two major strategies employed in the comparative politics. Number one is the most similar system design, or Mill's method of differences. So in this most similar system design, so the focus of this one is the finding of the variable which are similar to the other, which is very similar to the control. So there are two applications for this method, the stricter application or the looser applications. For the stricter application, so strictly, those variables here includes the same dependent or the same dependent variables in order to identify which is the independent variable. So that's why Mill's method of differences. So because you are being identified, because of the application of the stricter applications, all the variables are the same in order for you to identify which one differs from the rest. So for the looser applications, of course, just like the stricter, but of course the looser one is that you are accepting variables even though it is similar or different from the controlled variable. Next one is the most different system design, or Mill's method of similarity. So here, unlike here in the similar, so it focuses on the different system design. So the focus is on the different system for them to identify which of them are similar and which of them are different from each other. Say for instance, for the difference. So because I am comparing different, or I am focusing on different variables, I can identify now which variable that two countries or states similar with each other by focusing on the different variables. So that is the difference between the two strategies employed in a comparative politics. So there are major works in comparative politics as mentioned in the theory, or the major works of the philosophers. Like say for instance for Aristotle. Aristotle in his work The Politics compares the different constitution. When we say constitution, it is the form of constitution, a form of law or a written constitution within a particular land. So different forms of constitutions like the monarchy. So the monarchy here leads by a monarch. The monarch, or the, let's say in the UK, so they have two heads, which is the titular and the functional head. Usually, the titular head is the king who represents the state, while the prime minister serve as the functional head, which play the role of the executive branch. Okay, so that's it. Then Aristotle differs or differentiate on the good and bad or good constitutions and corrupt constitutions. So among those constitutions that he considered good are the number one, the monarch, which is of course because there is a one central rule, so everyone is going to follow for that particular leader. Secondly, number two is the aristocrats. They are the group of people being defined by their quality in order to lead. And then the third one is the third one is the polity, which means that those citizens of the government, it focuses on the relationship of the government and the citizens. So those constitutions like the monarchy, like the polity and the aristocrats or aristocracy, considered by Aristotle as a good form of constitutions. Now, how about the corrupt constitutions? Number one, he considered tyranny as one of the corrupt constitutions. When you say tyranny, they are from the word tyrant, which means cruel or oppressive. Let me give you an example. Stalin and then Hitler. So they are the one who oppress a group of people. So they are the tyranny. According to Aristotle, tyranny is one of the considered corrupt constitution. Next is the oligarchs or the oligarchy. Oligarchy are the rich few people who possesses power because of their wealth and functions. So that's it. Because of their power, although they have no capacity to rule, but because of their definition of the wealth, of their connection and their quality in the society or the connection in the society, they have the chance to lead. Next one is the democracy. Democracy is considered by Aristotle as corrupt constitution because of course because it is led by the people, there's no central authority. Because of that, more or less, we can say that it is corrupt in the sense that many decisions are to be made, unlike the monarch which is focused on one decision. So that makes the democracy corrupt. Next one, for Gabriel Almond and Sidney Verba, under the civic culture, they focused on the citizens' participation, whether or not the citizens are active or inactive on a particular political event. So that is the focus of Gabriel Almond and Sidney Verba on their works, The Civic Culture. Third one, Robert Dahl in his work, Polyarchy. Polyarchy is the participation of the plurality. So, the participation of the plurality from the word poly, which means many, and the archy, to rule. So, like the democracy, so many are given the chance to rule. Next one is about Montesquieu's idea in his work, The Spirit of Law. So in his work, he focuses more on the protection, the power or authority of the law to protect the people from oppressions. So according to Montesquieu, he focuses more on the separation of power. When you say separation of power, there are three branches of the government, which is the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. According to Montesquieu, in order for them to function well, they have to be separated from each other in order for them to work independently and without overriding the power of the other branch. Next, according to Barrington Moore in Social Origin of Dictatorship and Democracy, which they focused on the transformation of agrarian to modern community. So that is the comparison. So how one democratic or how one agrarian land or agrarian state transform into a modern kind of state. Next, James Scott, in his work The Art of Not Being Governed, is he said he focused it there in the barbarians whose tribe focuses on the agrarian, on the preservation of the culture of the people. Next is Tocqueville on his work Political Society. So, of course, from the word political society, Tocqueville focuses on the political animals. We, the political animals, we are the animal who are actively engaged in politics. So that is the focus of Tocqueville. And then for Samuel Huntington, he focuses more on the third wave of democracy. So Huntington focuses more on the third wave of democracy because if you can see there are third wave because first wave of democracy, second wave of democracy. Now Samuel Huntington focuses on the third wave. Next, Aaron Ledgepart focuses on the scientific debate of like the organizations or the causality of one institutions towards others. So they focuses on the scientific debate of the corporatism or the, such corporates like that. So Juan Lintz and Alfred Stefan focuses on the salient transition of pre-transition. So their focuses on the pre-transition period. So they focuses more, they compare the pre-transition and the transition period. What are the difference and the similarities of those things? And for Seymour Martin Lipset, he focuses or he compares the high income voters from the low income voters. So usually, according to him, the low income voters supported the left, while the high income voters supported the right. If you can remember about your subject, on the left, which is usually the opposition, and the right party, which is usually the administration. So they're focused on that kind of um, comparison. So that's it. If you have some questions regarding this topic, feel free to message me or feel free to ask them below so that we can discuss it. So that's it. Thank you for listening and bye-bye.